Hello and welcome back to AlphaTauri / VCarb. Just to address the early elephant in the room there. Yep, I got the words the wrong way around in last time's intro. I may have said Red Bull, I don't think there's a racing in there, when of course I meant Racing Bull, I don't think there's a red in there. So, caught it in the edit, hope no one noticed. Of course, someone did. Well done you. Also apologies, yes, this is a Monday, the day of upload is going to change for the permanent upload on this channel going forward, just because I'm finding myself increasingly having to go somewhere midweek. I won't expand on it any more than that, but it does mean basically I'm not here when those videos go live, when there is one. I would like to make sure I am around on the day that a video goes live, ideally, just in case there's any problems. So the day of upload going forward will be Mondays. There also may be something new coming to the channel, which may induce a second upload per week, / alternate with this depending on what my recording schedule is like in that given week. But either way, Mondays, always going forward, maybe a Friday upload, we'll see. I've got this new endeavour set up, ready to record, so we'll get on with that soon. But back here at RB, things have been going relatively smoothly now that the waves of car parts, new car parts have been designed and installed. We're fighting a little bit further forward than that opening race. Turns out I didn't actually overdo the research in the big reset year as much as I feared. If anything, I undercooked it a little bit. But we have got ourselves back into that mix of kind of 5, 6, 7 for the most part, and the occasional contention for podiums, particularly on sprint weekends where YUKI TSUNODA seems to be unbelievable, having won 2 sprints out of 2 so far. Monza being the third today's race. Off track, there's been another falling out between Tsunoda and his race engineer, which has been resolved. On track, no incidents since Zane Maloney was taken out at Australia by Zhou Guanyu until last race at Zandvoort, where Zane Maloney was taken out by Antonio Giovinazzi. YUKI TSUNODA having started at the back of the grid because that's why I deigned to take extra engine parts for him. He's had no issues, of course, so I just thought I'll get the extra engine parts in now before this Monza race, which of course is quite intensive. I'll put them on for that Monza race. Having already taken the penalty at Zandvoort, we'll be okay. So Maloney is going to need to take engine parts for Monza here, unfortunately, but it is a sprint weekend, which I think is just going to reset him for the actual grid. I forget how it actually works in F1 Manager. I can't remember if it works the right way around or the wrong way around, but we'll find out together. Yeah, unfortunately Giovinazzi took Maloney out, just tagged him on the rear end, punted him into a wall. Nothing he could do, absolutely wiped the car out. Great news is though, next year we're getting an extra allocation of everything, so we may not even need to take penalties if we have a clean season. But what it does mean is obviously our reliance on taking extra engine parts, which is basically mandatory at some point during the year, regardless of how good you are as an engine, as a driver, as whatever. If you don't have any instances, you typically have to still take 1 round of everything. Now we don't have to rely on that extra money, which means that extra money can go into development of the car, which means we could be fighting at the front next year, at the very front. We've kind of been fighting on occasion when the track suited us, but Monza isn't one of those, so we'll get on with it. We're not great in top speed, or indeed medium speed corners in particular. They're the 2 weaknesses. Actually, this page is quite helpful because it shows you the podiums on the right hand side. Pierre Gasly got the second one at Japan for Aston Martin. Good for him. Yuki, 2nd in Spain, 2nd in Monaco, 3rd at Austria, and 2nd at Spa. You can see where the upgrades came in and when they mattered. Monte Carlo somewhat helped by various incidents. But we are fighting for that 3rd spot with Mercedes, with Ferrari, who have dropped off a little bit. Alpine, hilariously, are quite good, considering how not good they are in real life. As the drivers, Yuki is 4th and basically carrying the team on his back. Yeah, Paul Maloney has been obviously taken out of 2 races, not up to the same scratch. It is interesting now that we've had the big reset that it does appear to be a bigger discrepancy between cars, or between drivers. Because George Russell rated 92, Perez rated 89, not doing anywhere near as well, half the points. Although, similarly, Piastri 86, Stroll 88. There's a discrepancy there. It's also only halfway through the season, so we'll see if it kind of filters back out into 2x2. Obviously the 2 Red Bulls, notably better than everyone else. Maloney splitting the Williams, McLaren down here as well. And then Haas Sauber, kind of, Audi as it will be at this point. Forgot relying on the badge, not the name. I was off the back of a good result in Zandvoort, pretty much there. So it's a little bit more 2x2 as the back, and obviously the very front with the 2 Red Bulls, and slightly more alternating in the mid-pack for now, which I'm hoping is largely because obviously the cars are a lot closer together now they've all been nerfed. But we've got to get through a sprint weekend, so I'll do qualifying quickly. See you shortly. Right then, qualifying, no drama in practice 1. Zane has a whole new engine suite, gearbox, ERS and engine. I only actually did the ERS with YUKI TSUNODA. I didn't actually give him a new engine. If he has no incidents, he might be able to make it to the end of the year with the two that he's got kind of in good condition still. Gearboxes wise, touch wood, should be fine as well. But yeah, Zane, guaranteed. Zane didn't even have a functioning ERS after the Zambot race. He has kind of one reasonable engine and two reasonable gearboxes, but obviously they'll get worn down through the races and practice sessions, so I figured I might as well get him the third one while we're at it. Get these early ones out of the way. Pretty sure Monza will require a medium tyre for the sprint, so we can use these sub tyres. That being said, Ferraris aside, oh, Stroll as well. There's 3 people in that bottom 5 that I think could get ahead of Maloney. What are the margins back to Giovinazzi, Zhou Guanyu? 2 or 3 tenths? Not feeling overly safe with Maloney there. Although, has Stroll just done a lap and it still ended up 20th? Or is the fact he's now got a time indicative that he has actually just started the lap rather than is on the out lap? I think that's the case, yeah. Stroll's just gone 3rd. That being said, not sure what's happening here. I think Maloney genuinely is following Leclerc around the track. See if that helps or hinders. Sector 1 helps. I'm assuming both Ferraris are going to be on flying laps, although they seem to be like inside of the vehicles. Perez has a little bit more room than George Russell. Bottas, Ricciardo and Hadjar guaranteed worse. Leclerc moves up to 3rd. Maloney moves up to 7th thanks to the incredible tow that Charles Leclerc provided for the entire lap. Honestly, it's a weird thing that he's actually 2 tenths off Leclerc considering he's still basically inside him. We needn't have worried. Nobody really moved. Actually, he ends up the back anyway. I forgot about that. I should be using him to help Yuki. I'd argue both drivers relatively safe. On board with Zane Maloney as he negotiates Sector 1 slower than he did with used tyres. Classic. That will never not be stupid. Wasser, I'm wondering if Wasser's got car pass that Hadjar doesn't. Because there is a gulfing class between them last weekend and this one. Clearly they've had an improvement because they're not in the bottom 5. But at the very least, 2026 has provided the general team order shake-up that I've been dreaming of for the past 3 years, which have been essentially the same all 3 years. McLaren getting a little bit better, and that's about it. And ourselves obviously getting a little bit better, and that's about it. Maloney goes 3rd, Yuki 5th. Wow, Maloney, that was unnecessary. You get me in the back anyway, unless someone's doing all 3. There are penalties to Max Verstappen, Lance Stroll, and Wasser. Lance Stroll crashed out of the last race as well, so might be a full suite. I don't know. Good to check his car, I suppose. Actually, that being said, Hadjar did make it into the top 10 in the end. Oh, the expense of Lando Norris, I've now realised. And Piastri. Considering the current order of things, that's a surprise. On board with YUKI TSUNODA using his teammate as a distant-ish tow. Could have gone a little bit closer, actually. I've been trying it every session, trying to work out how to actually get them next to each other on the road, and it's not worked yet. A little bit more successful this time. There's another vehicle just up the road here, which might provide a bit of a barrier for YUKI TSUNODA. YUKI TSUNODA does have a purple first sector. Excellent passing there of the Red Bull. Don't know which one. Hopefully Yuki will catch this Mercedes before it's the problem. Clear drive from here on in as well. Slower middle sector. Helpful, Yuki. Helpful. A Wasser is faster than you at this point in time, but a purple first sector hopefully might mitigate that. And only going better in first and second sector just of his own accord as well, without any tow. Around the Parabolica and up to the start finish line. Maloney moves up to 4th temporarily. Yuki up to 6th. How is Yuki slow with this race? Of course, that will become 5th guaranteed. Maloney out-qualifies Leclerc. Pities at the back of the grid for the race. Actually, that's a valid point. Depending on how the penalties are given in sprints, which I generally have forgotten, does Maloney start the sprint 4th and then start the race at the back of the grid? Sainz on pole, though.
And it's lights out, and away we go.
My recollection of how the sprint weekends worked was indeed correct. Maloney starts 4th, Yuki did start 6th, but already up to 5th. On the inside of Charles Leclerc, Maloney seemed to enter Verstappen ahead of him there, but not actually contact, it seems. We've gone with the mediums, deciding to push them off the line. That looks like Stroll might be on hards, which is a bold strategy from them. Especially as it will then remove the hard from the pole tomorrow. Pool. It will remove the hard from the pool tomorrow. Sorry, my words failed me there. Somehow Maloney can't get past a car on hard tyres, which isn't great news, but first 2 laps obviously on full hard push. Unfortunately, Maloney not making that stick on. Lance Stroll's hard-running Alpine. Yuki's up the back of Maloney as well. This is tricky because I kind of want Maloney to get the points from the sprint here. He's going to be at the back for the actual race regardless, but I also don't want him to hold up YUKI TSUNODA all that much. I'll have a look to see if anyone else has made the error. Was has made the error of going onto hard, as is Magnussen and Giovinazzi, who are towards the back anyway, so not really that important. But yeah, removing the hard tyre from your list of options on Sunday is a bold strategy. Okay, so it looks like Yuki just making the overtake on of his own regard. I'm not even team ordering this. Half the time you do team orders, it ends up causing a crash anyway, so on a track like this. Go on, Zane, go up the inside of Lance. That's not the inside of Lance. So from here in, we can go on the 4 push strategy that we have decided is going to work in this race. This is the fastest strategy as far as we're concerned. No overtake there. Zane's got his nose in. Where's the detection point? Oh, it's after the parabolica, which is not helpful. Unless he's still behind at that point. He might not have been at the detection point. This ain't great news. Oh, he was! This could be problem solved for Zane Maloney. And he's passed. There's no replays in the sprint, of course, so making sure we saw it live. And Stroll got back again, somehow. Do get crash highlights, though, as Hadjar is part of a 3-man band here. Just goes for a spin. Both drivers ahead of Stroll. I didn't actually see Yuki get past Stroll there, but I believe it's just happened. I'm kind of hoping the alternating DRS will help our drivers stay ahead of the chasing pack. VSC, for some reason, is Giovinazzi. VSC is quite serious, so he's done the same thing, I think, as Hadjar, but marginally more dangerously. Well, there's instant karma for Antonio Giovinazzi. You can't just take out another car in a race and not get away with it eventually. One race too late, but never mind. Just looking at the order as this VSC continues, with Leclerc behind, I am half tempted to actually put YUKI TSUNODA ahead of Maloney, just to make sure the better driver is dragging the slightly less good driver along rather than the other way around. And we said if this VSC takes any longer, the race will end anyway. The problem is I can't tell them to swap over because they always do it slightly more awkwardly than if you just do it naturally, and that might accidentally let Leclerc through anyway, so I just have to wait for YUKI TSUNODA to overtake Zane anyway, and then tell Zane not to fight. Obviously the fuel can be pushed to the end. Weird how we just left Leclerc behind there. Are they suffering on tyres? No, 50%.
Careful with it.
I'm not sure what this is as such. There's a crash obviously involving Sergio Perez and there's debris, but I'm not entirely certain where from. There was debris on the ground, but the Ferrari still had his wing in the graphics there. I think that's just a yellow flag and that's nothing more serious than that. We do appear to have left Leclerc behind actually, so last lap just to preserve the tyres a little bit in the interim. So he's going to go with the inside of Yuki here, which isn't helpful overall because it's going to put Leclerc right on our tails. I think actually with the brand new engine parts on Zane Maloney, he may actually have the speed between the two vehicles this weekend, but Yuki will get him back and that will resolve that. I think arguably that did help us gap Leclerc in the end. Actually got within a second of Sainz and Verstappen. I don't know what happened with them two in the last couple of laps, but P3 for Yuki, that's where he'll start. No, he will start tomorrow P2 because of Verstappen and his penalty. Regardless of what it is, he'll end up behind him. Is Magnussen wounded because he's down in 15th and not really moving? Oh, he started on hards, didn't he? Yeah, so Max has a penalty, so Yuki will start the race in second. Between Sainz and Leclerc, the former Ferrari drivers, neither of which are at Ferrari anymore. And Lance Stroll's penalty only compounding his bizarre decision to go on hards there. So full race ahead, cloudy. So Maloney taking everything, puts him at the very back, of course. But the thing with the two-stop is you can't really go any harder on the tyres. It only puts you like 3 seconds up overall, and it kind of relies on you being able to get through the pack. Wait, no, it's 8 seconds. Oh, that was 3 seconds faster than the alternative that I'd already set up. So, Maloney's at the back, right? Just give that extra wiggle room to be able to push the tyres at the start of the stint. But yeah, medium hard for both drivers. We're just going to invert it on Maloney because he's in the back anyway.
Here we go. It's the Italian Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go.
Two very different races for our drivers today. Yuki to capitalising, trying to get another podium for us. To get that objective done early, in fact. We've got next year to do it in, but 6 podiums in a calendar year is what that aim is. Everyone's just stopped because it's Monza. That's insane. But Maloney already getting past Magnussen to start with, despite the fact he's on the hardest compound tyre and Magnussen's on the softest compound tyre. In fact, Maloney is 17th after negotiating that first chicane. All right, Zane. I didn't actually put Yuki's fuel down. Good luck, Yuki. Well, I say good luck, Yuki. We weren't paying attention to the front of the field. Okay then. Sorry, Yuki. We don't get that replay either, as well. De Vries started 4th as well, because of all the penalties. Verstappen's penalty enough to bring him down to the bottom of the top 10. 9th as he stands. Don't know if that's where he started. Stroll ended up 11th with his penalty. There was another penalty in that top 10, and I can't remember who it was, but nonetheless, that's the order now. Good clean lap from everyone, ultimately. Tsunoda is going to be challenged by Sainz during this race by the looks of things. Leclerc not doing amazingly well to hold on. Already a second behind Sainz, but yeah, Sainz on the softs, obviously pushing all the way here. Leclerc's on a medium, but it's weird that Yuki's pulling away from Leclerc on the same tyre. Also, just realised, actually, they're all on softs for the most part. So they are either doing soft medium, which is borderline dysfunctional, or a two-stop, which was slower. Obviously, I've not really factored in incidents, but we'll see. Okay, so at the end of the second lap, Yuki and Sainz are neck and neck. Next DRS zone will be the one that activates. But we do have a second half to Leclerc, which is quite handy. So if we can keep DRSing past each other, rather than just straight up fighting each other, we may actually build a gap on Leclerc, who is a bit of a fight behind, actually, by those things, as Norris may have just got past Piastri there. No, it's Gasly on De Vries is what I was seeing, or De Vries on Gasly, as the case may be. Maloney now struggling a little bit in keeping up on even Bottas, but they're on hards, that's bound to happen. In fact, he could actually use Hadjar to help close the gap. And that is indeed what he's done. Hadjar's closed up to the back of Bottas and Ricciardo, and now taken Maloney and Magnussen with him. Meanwhile, Yuki Tsunoda at the front, fighting... Oh, that's post DRS zone, isn't it, actually? So it's kind of working. Leclerc's stayed about a second and a half behind. De Vries is closed in, though, on Leclerc, so giving him something to think about. De Vries on soft tyres. And it is worth noting, I need to take fuel off on Maloney easily now, whoops. But it is worth noting that Tsunoda's keeping up here on a medium tyre versus a soft tyre. And not just keeping up, making the challenge. It's a bit back and forth, but nice, straightforward overtake. Looks like Sainz actually enters Yuki's side pod there, but no, that's just graphics. Somewhat ruining Sainz's race, though, considering our strategy and considering what is presumably their soft to medium, unless they're doing a soft to hard, which wasn't on the, the overalls. But soft to hard actually probably would have worked, thinking about it. We're not exactly dropping Leclerc, but it is maintaining the gap, this constant to and fro with Sainz. Leclerc weirdly has dropped to fifth. Meanwhile, Maloney has followed Hadjar through the Audis and dropped them behind as well. Maloney's sensibly using this medium runner to his advantage. Actually challenging him now a little bit, which is a bit unfortunate, but hopefully he can help him drag him up to the back of the train that is Awasa, Russell, Ocon, and, well, Perez just about. I don't know if Hadjar's actually making inroads on them. He is, as the front two keep swapping over. In fact, they have now been joined by everyone in that train. That gap has now gone. Gasly, De Vries, Leclerc, Norris, Stroll. That's it. All of them have DRS now on Sainz. So if you could get to the front of that, that would be great. Lap 15, tyre situation for Sainz isn't looking great. So this is the point of the race where Yuki can make this work. I'm intrigued to know if they go soft to hard. Because similarly, I might be able to do it with... But I think even then, soft to hard is going to sort of just be in capable ranges. So if I want a period of actually pushing the tyres, very soon Yuki's going to be competently faster. And actually, Maloney, this is a fun one. I've not brought you every single Sainz and Yuki overtake, but this is the fun one because Maloney's taken his ride along. Gone past Hadjar and now ready to fight his own fights on the back of Perez, whose medium tyres are still relatively okay. But meanwhile, Sainz's soft tyres clearly just all right. But off the back of that DRS zone, Zane has his proverbial foot in the door on the Ferrari of Perez. The Ferraris are terrible now, by the way. Talking about order shakeups, the Ferrari's going all the way down there. Not what I was expecting, having been effectively the front runners with the Mercs, and, well, the Red Bulls, obviously, last season. And that should be Maloney past Perez as well for good measure. And now we're on to the back of a set of soft runners whose tyres are going to be going. 1.5 seconds to Ocon. Immediately gapping Perez by looking there as well. Straight line speed isn't our best suit, but DRS is. So, what we lack in the straight line speed, we're kind of mid-table actually on that front, but what we lack in the straight up top speed, we gain in DRS capabilities. So give us a DRS and we're quite strong. I'll have to consider recovering fuel at some point, but we'll wait till the second half of the race for that. As Maloney might just need to push Maloney's tyres a smidge just to get him into that DRS range. Get that lap time up a little bit. Stroll pits. He's the first soft runner to pit. Awasa pits as well. Sainz on 33% soft tyres is now fighting Gasly. Just want to make sure Maloney stays within a second. That should be more than enough. Let's get him on the back. That's what a hard-medium strategy will do for you, give you the opportunity to do this. Just push occasionally to get into DRS ranges and what have you. Yuki's now behind Gasly, as we're sort of dropping the soft runners, who may... nope, haven't pitted yet. So they're doing soft-medium then, I would imagine. Stroll and Awasa have come out on hard tyres. I think they were soft runners, right? So they are doing soft-hard, which wasn't the strategy offered to us. So I think everyone who stayed out on the softs Norris is doing quite well on them, actually. But anyone who stayed out on the softs is doing soft medium, I would imagine, at this point. But we're gapping the soft runners now. As De Vries and Sainz do pit, and we'll see what they come out on. If they come out on hards, then we're actually doing all right here. Any incidents are red flags now. Maloney's in a really good spot. Sainz came out on a hard tyre, as Maloney, once again, sneaky, tucks up the inside of another vehicle. This time the Ferrari of Russell. Poor Russell. Move to Ferrari. I'll be honest, the Merc, arguably better now, but yeah, so Gasly and Tsunoda are fighting each other. That's kind of expected. Maloney and Ocon, of course, the Ocon with... This is the optimal pit stop. Yeah, I kind of want to avoid them getting as much of an undercut as I can possibly get them, really. Might just go next lap, actually. Just to get him two laps on full attack mode. Ocon pits as well, just to release Maloney. Did he get DRS out of that? He did. This could be the sensible spot to actually recover the fuel with Maloney. Or do some recovery, just while he's sort of free of anyone. Yuki Tsunoda comes out behind De Vries, which is a bit unfortunate. And behind a very early pit-stopping Stroll. But crucially ahead of Leclerc and Sainz. And he's stopped before Gasly has as well. So we might be able to undercut Gasly here, because Stroll and De Vries' tyres should have warmed up, so we might be able to use them to drag us along a little bit while we are suffering under cold tyres. Got the DRS there. Fuel recovery actually seems to be quite hard here. Gasly now pits, which temporarily actually puts Maloney in the lead of the race. Perez still hasn't pitted either off his mediums. And Gasly comes all the way out in 9th place, fighting with Norris for 8th. So we definitely undercut Gasly by a drastic amount, but yeah, we got undercut by Stroll and De Vries simultaneously. Yeah, don't push those tyres too hard now, Yuki. Just save a bit for fights later on, maybe. There goes Perez as well, for good measure. I'm actually very concerned about how slow the recovery rate is for fuel, even on conserve. Because Yuki's going to have to do it at some point. Trying to drop De Vries, but it isn't working. If I can get into Stroll's DRS, then we might be all right. Leclerc, unfortunately, has got through Yuki Tsunoda there. Now there's a yellow flag. Please do not, safety car us now. So Maloney comes out all the way in 16th. Strategy not really working out for him. It's thankfully two vehicles that aren't us. But is this Lando and Stroll, I want to say, touching? If it's Piastri, that's quite funny. It was Piastri. I think he may have had a slow pit stop there, Maloney. That is really, a huge deal. But nearly on mediums for the rest of this race. The good news is, though, between Leclerc and Yuki, we have dropped Sainz and De Vries for some reason. I don't know why De Vries has fallen all the way off like that. But if we can gather ourselves all the way up to Stroll, that'll be superb. Stroll's tyres are somewhat worse than both of ours as well. That may pay dividends at the end of the race. Obviously I pushed Yuki, so he's lost the benefit of whatever he had on Leclerc, but it's done us the job of separating out into a podium position at least. So the good news is Maloney should just ditch and dispatch every single vehicle ahead of him now he's on the better tyres. I say, as he's not making any inroads on the ones ahead. There we go. Ooh, Verstappen's are coming as well. I hadn't really registered that one. What is up with those? I forget, of course, yes. The Alpines are strongest in the first half of the race because of the Renault engine. Second half of the race, we should be actually better than them, and we actually do need to recover fuel because this is not going to be helpful. There's only 17 laps remaining, and the rate in which they were recovering earlier, I'm not confident we're going to get it. Thankfully, it doesn't seem to be hurting us with Leclerc. As we get to the end stage of this race, I suspect we will actually end up being faster than Stroll overall. Maloney is up to 11th as well, for good measure. Now's the point to push him again, just to get him within DRS range of Ocon. There we go. Verstappen's getting irritatingly close to us at the front there. I was about to say, the overtake's not going to be far away on Ocon for a top 10 place for Maloney. Bear in mind, of course, he started 20th. And this is a points-paying position for the rookie. We should just about get our fuel before the end of this race. Have just given Ocon the DRS there, though, Zane, which probably won't help. But thankfully, the first time in his racing career, Ocon is sensible and doesn't bin it straight into Maloney. I haven't seen the replay for that overtake, but whatever. Sorry, live. We will drag Ocon around a little bit, but there we go. That should drop him eventually. All right, we can finally stop preserving fuel on both drivers. I want to close in on Stroll, ideally, here. Just as Verstappen gets in DRS range as well, for good measure. Can't go too hard on the tyre still, but I just wanted to get past Leclerc, ideally. Don't think Maloney's going to get onto the back of Norris. 4 laps to go. Stroll may have won this. 2 laps to go in this race, and I don't know exactly what caused it, but Leclerc ended up dropping off, and now Verstappen's taken him for 3rd place. So 2 laps to go. We've got just enough in the tyres to go full 5 attack on the last 2 laps, so we will do that. Maloney has indeed called the train of De Vries, Piastri, Sainz and Norris. Sainz down at 8th. I don't know what happened there. But he could steal a couple more championship points if he is lucky. I'll battle assist him while he's doing this actually as well. Interesting place to overtake there, Zane. But that's Norris actually on the inside. And if he can make his stick going around the next right-hander, done. He can get the other Merc next. Of course, his, peak confidence, which should help mitigate his relatively poor overtaking attributes, which do get affected. Overtaking and defending attributes do get affected by confidence, so being on peak, giving them an extra 7, I think, maybe, points in that. Yeah, brings his overtaking up to 86, which isn't too shabby. Stroll on the lead on the last lap. Oh, Bologna got Sainz as well. Didn't even see that one. Maybe I did, and I wasn't paying attention. I was looking at the older attribute. Bear in mind again, he started 20th. Yuki started this race second and is still second. There's a yellow flag here at the end. I don't know what for. It's resolved itself. It might have been that, yeah, that has. Yuki has to claim 2 seconds by the end of this. I don't think it's going to work, but it should help keep Verstappen behind at least. Maloney, meanwhile, is in a fight. We'll deploy him from here. 1.9, 1.8. Yuki's, oh God, pushed him a little too hard. 1.6. 1.6 seconds behind Stroll, but it is another podium to go to the collection. No win, unfortunately. And he has run out of fuel there. Of course, still overtaking someone in the process of all that. Didn't quite get De Vries, but did get Piastri. Can't imagine actually he's going to go much further. Just about got away with it. Second place for Yuki Tsunoda. 7th place for Maloney. Incredible comeback. I don't think he had a good pit stop. I think it says 17th fastest, so must have had a problem. As Corey mentions there, 5th podium of the season for Yuki. All 5 of ours, of course. Might be Lance Stroll's first victory. I know he's been on the podium relatively frequently, but I'm not sure if that's the first victory for them or not. I'll double check afterwards. The Alpine's irritatingly fast, as is Lance.
For sure.
Shout out to the one person in the background just shouting, "Get in there!" And Stroll up 12 places. How on earth did he do that then? But yeah, Zane up 13. What a drive that is. 7 points. Fastest lap to boot, of course, being on those mediums at the end. 2/10 faster than anyone else. Next fastest was actually Yuki. Oh no, Charles Leclerc, 1/1000th. So it did matter for the team and for the driver. Kind of solidifying a top 4 now with that top 4. Nick De Vries sneaking into the top 10, and Zane should get some places as well. Yep, up to 11th. And we leapfrog Mercedes back into 3rd. Neither of our pit stops particularly quick there, apparently. Do they both have errors, or did we just not set it up well? 2.3, not great. Maybe we just didn't set up the background, but yeah, he did have an error. Cost cap's going to be fun though with those emergency parts, but we put him to good use. And on top of that, he gets a rating boost to 84. And that's because an extra point to his braking. Excellent. 2 extra points to his defending. Also excellent. And 2 extra points for Yuki's braking. Yuki's going to be quite potent. That control still needs working on. But beyond that, Yuki is a formidable driver. 93 accuracy, 90 braking, 95 overtaking, 87 and 87 on reactions and defending as well. Not too shabby and adaptable, relatively smooth. Control ideally should be better. And the cornering, weirdly, only 82. Maybe we can do something about that. Perhaps we have to abandon the hope of it getting that control up any longer in focus of getting that cornering up as well. But that's that. That's a successful sprint weekend, all things considered, for Zane and Yuki. Points finishes for both of them in both parts. We'll take that at any day of the week, or indeed, both days of the weekend. I will see you again at the end of the season, where things may still be in the balance with the way this season is shaping up. And of course, this first time, we will be doing Abu Dhabi as the final race. So we will see you there. Thank you for watching. Until next time, ta-ra.